Julia. A couple weeks ago I uploaded a video on how I make my raw edge totes. And there was some confusion with how I finish the side seams and the bottom. And so I want to just do a recap on that. My apologies, I went too fast, and there is some tricks to it. And so here's another video. I'm going to link the original down below for you. And I'll also stick it up on the cards too, so you can see that. But this, so far, I've got both my front and my back cut out. And I've decorated the back with a pocket, patch pocket. And then the front, I did just this whimsical bird. And the bird is looking down at this sign that says, "Be happy, be bright, be you." And then just put a couple little flower motifs on this. These were just recently gifted to me, and I just think they're so whimsical and fun. So anyway, this is where I'm at so far. And I want to sew these so that the raw edges are out. So I'm going to be sewing this so that the wrong sides are together. And I'm going to start with the bottom seam. I'm going to stitch this just probably about 3/8 of an inch all the way down, and I'm going to do that first, and then I'll be back. I should also mention that I used a 100% cotton canvas for this, and I did rip it, and I went through that step in the first video, but I ripped it so this wonderful raw edge, you know, it just this 100% cotton canvas rips really well and does that really cool fraying. So that's already been done. So I've sewn that first seam. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to, you can press this or just finger press it. I'm just going to finger press it. And I'm pressing it so that raw edge is towards the front of my bag. And then I'm going to just top stitch this, approximately 1/4 of an inch away from the original stitching. Okay, that part is done, and I've top stitched it. Now it's on to doing one of the sides first. And I'm going to do, again, my right sides are together, and I'm just going to stitch this all the way down, and again at approximately 3/8 of an inch. Okay, I did get that one sewn. Now for this next step, and this is where it gets just a little bit tricky, I again want to press this, and I'm going to press it towards the front. You can do it towards the back, whichever direction you want. You just want to be consistent. Because I went up towards the front on the bottom, I'm going to be doing the same on the sides. And once I get that pressed into place, and when I go ahead and I sew my top stitching, it's easier to sew in the round. When I grew up sewing, it was called sewing in the round. Basically, you turn it inside out and you sew it inside out, so that this is going to be at the top. But then it's easier to reach down at the bottom. And I'm going to set my sewing machine, my camera up at the sewing machine so you can see what I'm talking about on this particular seam. This one gets a little bit tricky, and the next one gets even a little bit more tricky. It's easy to do, but you just have to do it from the inside. And so I'm going to press that, and then I'm going to set this my camera up at the sewing machine and show you what I'm talking about when I'm sewing from the inside or sewing in the round. Okay, I have one of the side seams done, and you can see it just has a really nice look, and that fraying is all kind of going one direction. And now for the last seam, or the last side seam, you do want to, again, my wrong sides are together. This of course seam is super simple. I'm again just going to do like 3/8 of an inch all the way down, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, that one is together, and now to top stitch this one, and this is the one that gets a little bit more just fiddly to try to reach it. but again, I'm going to turn it inside out. I'm going to press this towards the front and then sew it inside out, and sew it basically so that it's sewn in the round. And I'm going to press this again, and then I'll set my camera back up at the sewing machine so you can see how I do this. I can turn my bag now so that the right sides are out. Remember, I still have my holes at the bottom here where the corners need to be squared up. That's our next step. But you can see just this really fun little side seams where all those frays are going towards the little bird. And then the last step is these corners. And I'm going to sew these again so the wrong sides are together. And now you'll see that these lay really flat, and I just join those, and I'm going to sew straight across, and then I'm going to zigzag this as well. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to sew it first with a straight stitch, and then I'll just zigzag it and leave the raw edges. Probably clean them up a little bit, but then that'll complete the bottom. And I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. I've got my corners boxed now. I straight stitched and then zigzagged, and the outer bag is complete. The next step, of course, would be to add the straps, and then I put a facing around the top to finish off. And the other video shows how to do that. And the other video, I also lined it, but I do want to just mention the one thing that's fun about doing this raw edge showing is the inside is completely finished off. It's similar to just like a French seam. So you really don't need to do any sort of lining, especially if you are using a heavier canvas. So that's an option. But I thought this would make just a wonderful tote for maybe for piano books or something. Just for, you know, just something fun. Wonderful gift for a little girl. I hope you enjoyed this, everybody. I'm going to share some pictures at the end, and again, the other video will be linked down below where I show how I put the straps on, the facing on, and the lining. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye for now.